that I'm gonna just Google some random stuff. So, one thing that I do want to talk about actually is being a cusper, because I feel like cusp babies don't get a lot of attention or a lot of like time of day. Like they just don't really exist. So I actually did a lot of research on this the other day. And actually, this was like 2 nights ago. Again, when I couldn't sleep. This is a habit, guys. I am a short sleeper. I function very, very well on like 4 hours of sleep. If I get 4 hours of sleep, I'm good. If I get 5 hours of sleep, I feel like I'm groggy the next day. I'm just a naturally short sleeper. I know that's not really common for a lot of people, but for me, it is my normalcy. I've been like that since before I was a teenager. I just function better on little sleep. That's just me. Um, but again, I need some more water, man. I'm dehydrated. Anyways, so I did some research the other day to just try and enlighten you guys in all things cusp wise. So, for anyone who doesn't know what a cusp baby is or what it means to be a cusper per se, for instance, most of you probably already know, if not by the many times that I mentioned it in my videos, but also it is in my description, is I am a Scorpio Sagittarius cusper. So what does that mean? What does it mean to be a cusp baby? What does it mean to be a cusper? What is a cusp? Um, Essentially what that means is that I was born at a time in which the sun was coming out of one zodiac sign while entering into another zodiac sign. So for myself personally, for Scorpio Sagittarius, that is between the dates of, hold on, I want to be exact, between November 18th through November 24th. If you were born throughout that time frame, that means that the sun was leaving Scorpio's zodiac only to be entering into Jupiter, which is now Sagittarius zodiac. So being a cusp baby is kind of hard. I actually didn't even know what a cusper was, or that I even was a cusp, or that this was even like a thing. Um, I'm gonna turn this down some, so I feel like there's a lot of glare. I just brought my computer here to have light because if not, I'd be in total darkness. um, but it's like really like accentuating my acne, and I really rather you guys not see that. I'm just kidding. I'm just oily because I'm Spanish, and it's a qualm. It's a one of those things you just kind of have to learn to deal with because Spanish skin and Spanish hair is oily. Not to gross you guys out or anything. um, but anyways, just kind of going back to the topic on hand is being a cusp baby. When I finally realized that that's what I was, and that's it really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And I used to read my horoscope. I actually used to not even really be that into astrology and the zodiac signs and stuff. I'll give you even a little bit deeper of my story, my background. I guess that's what we'll do then. We'll make this my little background story, like 2 a.m. hangout since no one's on here. So a little bit of my background. I growing up, the way that I was able to kind of realize how I was really into spirituality and all that fun stuff is I started out in religion. You know, like most kids, their parents make them go to church, and you know, meet people who are religious, and you have those religious moments and religious experiences. And for me, what I really, really, really appreciate about religion is the standards that it set for myself. Um, it helped me become who I am today. So I am very grateful for my religious background. Um, and one thing that I just never could understand with religion is, you know, all of the restrictions you know, when it came to the spirituality of it, like, you know, finding yourself and kind of mindfulness and praying and meditating and stuff like that, that resonated with me very, very strongly. And I felt great in those moments. And, but when it came to, you know, oh, you can't do this, or, you know, you've just sinned, or you, you know, it was really hard for me because I felt as though we were being taught that it was wrong to judge others, but yet anytime that someone did something wrong, or anyone, you know, kind of felt short of the straight and narrow path um, that was being predicated and preached, it seemed as though everyone would like turn their cheek on that member, or kind of like glare at them and their family, like, oh, I heard she's into drugs, so I don't want to talk to them. Like, well, let's just not invite them to Jenny's birthday party then. You know, it was very confusing for me. So I started out in a religious background, and that helped me out a lot. I then went to a religious private school in Idaho, actually. I went to university there, and I learned a lot. I wanted to go across the country because I wanted to get as far away from my parents as I possibly could. And bless them, love them to death. They're my world. But you know what I mean, like, just wanting that independence. That's Sagittarius in me, just wanted to break free as soon as I could. And the Scorpio in me stayed determined, because for all 4 years in high school, what I had to do was I would go to church school before actual high school. So whereas most kids were getting up at like 6 and getting to school at 7 and being all happy and ready, by 6 I had already been in school. I had already been in my my religious, you know, church school. So I did that for 4 years, and that helped me out because of that I was able to get accepted into this private university. When I was in that university, I learned a lot about myself. I grew a lot. I started to really experiment with the rebelliousness of my Sagittarius side. And at the same time, I struggled a lot with the intensity of my Scorpio side. So, whenever I would read a horoscope, or if I would see like those little Chinese zodiac symbols and stuff at like restaurants and different things like that, I would read the Sagittarius because my birthday falls on November 22nd. So I would read Sagittarius because in most calendars that's what it tells me that I am. And sometimes it would resonate and sometimes it wouldn't. And then I would also read Scorpio every now and then, even before I knew that it was a cusp, just because it was so close. And in other calendars, sometimes I would populate as a Scorpio other than a Sagittarius. And so it was really confusing for me when I was first trying to discover whether or not I liked astrology, or whether or not I wanted to accept it as some sort of truth in my life. But the day that I found out that a cusp is a thing, I can't remember the exact story or the exact time in my life when that happened, but when it happened, the day that it happened, I remember having a huge epiphany, a huge, like, mind-boggling moment, and it clicked. It finally made sense. It finally resonated with me, and I was finally able to accept, you know, astrology, and the different zodiac signs, and I started doing my own research with Western astrology versus Vedic astrology versus other forms of spirituality and other different concepts, you know, studies of the planets and how they align and how they all kind of merge and fit together. And doing so, let me read out a couple of things that I found, for instance, for you guys. And I'll make sure that I put the links to these websites in the description box below, just so you can go and make your own realizations for yourself, as if this is something that resonates and you're curious about. So on tarot.com, it states, no matter your birth date, there's only one answer. No one actually has two signs. But if you were born within a few days of the sun's move from one zodiac sign to the next, this means you were born on the cusp. And you might feel an influence from two different signs. So what I'm getting from this, and what I've come to understand for myself, and just through different articles and books that I've read and different realizations that have helped me conclude this answer, is that those who are born on the cusp babies or cuspers, whatever it is that you want to call them, is you are your own zodiac sign. So think about that for a minute. There's 12 zodiacs, right? And if of those 12, there's 12 other people out there who are born on the cusp, that's now 24 signs. But understand too that with every zodiac sign, there's two possible cuspers. You could be a Scorpio Sagittarius like myself, or you could be a Libra Scorpio cusper. Instead of being a Scorpio Sagittarius like I am, you could be a Sagittarius Capricorn. So now we're getting into a different world of zodiac signs and astrology, one in which you're coming to the realization that if you are born on those dates, you know, in between the sun's move from one sign to the next, and you do happen to land on the cusp, this is why tarot readings, horoscopes, why anytime that, you know, you Google your sign, it never fully resonates. You Google the personality traits, and sometimes they click, sometimes they don't. You'll be on Pinterest pinning, you know, planning your perfect dream wedding, or planning that perfect outfit, or getting Halloween ideas, whatever it is that you're doing, and you Google and you search this stuff and you research it, and some of the things that it says resonates, and some of the stuff it says doesn't. Now keep in mind also, you do have to look at your entire birth chart. I understand that too. I'm strictly only talking about sun signs at the moment. I can do another video on moon signs and rising signs and Venus and Mars and your Jupiter sign and all that fun stuff in another video. But what I'm strictly talking about right now is from a sun sign perspective. If you're born on a cusp and this relates to you, then that's who I'm talking to right now. And to people now. Anyways, that doesn't mean that being a cusper is always sunshine and rainbows. The energies of your two signs may clash. So being born on the cusp does come with its perks, does come with its advantages. I mean, you have influences of two signs, not just the one. And that can be pretty cool, and it can help you kind of feel very powerful and unique and special and true to yourself and true to your power. And it's true. It is really, really nice and fun. It makes, you know, reading your horoscope a lot more juicier, because you're like, ooh, you know, I just read the Scorpio, but I don't really like that one. So I'll pick Sagittarius. This will be my my horoscope for the day or for the week. But likewise, it also does come with its not so great parts. You know, if you're born on a cusp of two energies, of two zodiac signs that do not resonate well with one another, then you start to borderline into a rocky road, a difficult um, area, a part where you have um, added challenges in your life. Um, Challenges talking and communicating with others, challenges trying to understand yourself. Um, and that's really where I think the biggest challenge is. If you are one of the cuspers who are born with two very not inconsistent but unreliable signs with one another. You know how you guys can like look up two zodiac signs and be like, oh, am I compatible with this one? Well, imagine, that's just you knowing your sun sign, and that only being your sign, and knowing, for instance, Leo and Scorpio. I'm going to use these two because I feel like I talk about them a lot. But Leo and Scorpio, for instance, like Leo is a fixed sign, Scorpio is a fixed sign, and Leo tends to be very romantic um, in their love offerings, and Scorpio tends to be very dramatic and intense when it comes to love. So sometimes those two, if they were to get in a relationship together, they don't mix well because the intensity of a Scorpio, the dramaticism of a Scorpio can sometimes be intriguing to a Leo, and the beauty of a Scorpio can be intriguing to a Leo. But the intensity there can be the hindrance between the two, not communicating fully their deepest secrets, and being that way can be a downfall, a pitfall for that couple. Um, but that's just two different individuals. Now take an individual within themselves and give them the embodiment of two zodiac signs that clash with one another. You see how that can be a problem? It's great whenever you have two zodiac signs that read really well with one another and help one another, and strengthen each other so that you therefore are a stronger person and more in tune with your power.